there are many ways to accomplish this goal of writing an equation for a line that is parallel to line V. So this is one way. So line V has the equation y equals negative 1/5 x plus 9. The y-intercept is 9, the slope is negative 1/5. And we want to write an equation for the line that goes through this blue point on the graph, negative 10, 1, and also is parallel to the line. So let's do it using a method that's in your textbook credited to an imaginary student named Ramses. So we're going to use Ramses' method to solve this. So what Ramses does is he remembers that the slope formula is that you subtract the y's, so you do the change in y's over the change in x's. So the vertical change over the horizontal change. And he uses that idea to set up an equation. So the slope in this situation is negative 1/5. And it doesn't matter where you put the negative sign as long as you choose one number. So you don't want to put the negative in both places, but you can choose to either put it here or you can choose to put it here. But if you put it in both places, you've changed the meaning because then that's positive. So just for our purposes here, I'm going to put the negative right here. Now, we want to write the change in y in the numerator. So we're going to put a y, and then we're going to put this y coordinate right here. So y minus 1, because remember in our slope formula we have a y minus the y and an x minus the x. So the minus is just part of the formula. And now we also want to put x minus, and then our x value is negative 10. So we're going to put negative 10. And again, because we have minus negative 10, these two subtracts are going to actually be positive. So minus a negative is a positive. All right, so now we've got this proportion set up. So we know that this equals this. So now we just have to figure out how to solve and figure out what y equals, because we want our equation written in the form y equals mx plus b. So let's start by clearing our denominators a bit. So down here we have a 5. So remember, as long as we do the same operation to both sides of the equation, we're allowed to do it. So I'm going to multiply this side of the equation by 5, and I'm going to multiply this side of the equation by 5. Okay? So over here, 5 over 5 is 1, so these become 1, leaving us with just negative 1 on the left-hand side. And then over here, we have 5 times y minus 1 over x plus 10. Because remember, 5 is 5 over 1. So this down here gets multiplied by 1. This up here gets multiplied by 5. All right, so now let's take it another step and let's multiply both sides of the equation by x plus 10. So we're also going to multiply this times x plus 10. All right, so now x plus 10 times negative 1, let's write that here, and then over on the other side of the equal, this and this are the same, so they become 1. And so we're left with 5 times y minus 1. Now I'm going to do, well, I'll just write it. I was going to do 2 steps in 1, but that seems like a bad idea. I should show all my steps. All right, so now let's distribute. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute this negative 1. We're going to multiply negative 1 times x and negative 1 times 10. And then we're going to multiply 5 times y and 5 times negative 1. And that is going to be distribution. So negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times 10 is negative 10. 5 times y is 5y. And 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Wow, we're almost done. What I see, why I'm excited is I see that y is over here. And all we're going to have to do to get that y by itself is add 5 and then divide by 5. And then this y will be all by itself. So let's do first what we were saying. Let's add 5 to both sides of the equation. So negative x, and then negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. That's exactly what we wanted. These equals 0. So 5y plus 0 is just 5y. And then to get y by itself, we're going to divide by 5. So we're dividing this whole thing by 5. And I'm going to change color just so that it's easier. I need a little bit more space. So I'm going to erase this. So we really don't need this anymore. We're about to have it. And then I'm going to change to blue just so you can see what I'm working on. So let's see. Now what we need to do is we're doing that divide by 5. So we're going to have negative x divided by 5. And then negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. And then equals this 5 and this 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. It leaves us with just y by itself. That is so beautiful. So if you like to have the y on the left, you can just flip the order around. So we have y equals negative x over 5 minus 1. And this is so close to perfect. It's mathematically correct. But what we're used to seeing is we're used to seeing the x not necessarily on the top of a fraction. Remember that x is the same as 1x. So another way of writing this would be y equals negative 1/5 x minus 1. So if you put this equation right here into Desmos, you'll see that it is the line that is parallel to line V and goes through this point. Let's test that and verify that fact. And sure enough, here is our line V. Here is that point we were talking about. It's right here. And here is the equation that we just wrote. It's the green line on the graph. And you can see our green line goes through that point that it was supposed to go through. It's got the same slope as our original line, so the two lines are indeed parallel. Job well done.